All right. Well, hello, everybody. Thank you, ATG, for having us. What we're going to talk about today is the new features of 3.1. So what we're going to talk about is the new Enscape material library, the new material editor, the revamped material editor overhaul, and then the material editor for Revit now. Then we're going to get into simplified assets, our new Panorama Gallery. Then we're going to talk about some ray trace sun shadows and NVIDIA DLSS support. So our speakers, my name is Josh Radel. I'm one of the application engineers here at Enscape. I'm based out of Minnesota. We also have Jeff on the line here.
Hello.
He's based out of Phoenix, Arizona here. So, all right, let's get into it. So first up, what we're going to talk about is the new Enscape material library and the material editor overhaul. So real quick, let's watch a video. So like the title of this webinar says, simplify your designs with the new Enscape 3.1. In this release, we introduced an all new material library. We all know setting up the right materials is an essential part in creating beautiful renderings. And now this just became a whole lot easier for us to do thanks to this brand new material library. So this is the first iteration of many to come for now. We are introducing 244 pre-made materials varying from different woods, materials, bricks, tiles, and much more. These are designed to help improve realism in your project and save you time as you no longer have to invest in searching for those right materials to get those to achieve the results that you want. As we can see in this video here, these are just some of the quick examples of what we can achieve with these new materials. All right. Now what we're going to do is let's have a look at what these materials actually look like inside of Enscape. So real quick, we have this new sample project, which you can find on our website, enscape3d.com. Scroll down to the bottom and you can find it on our free sample project page. This is an executable file that was generated from Enscape. So what this does, this has all of our materials in it that we can, these are all the new pre-made materials. So now we can freely explore what each one of these looks like inside of an Enscape project. And again, they changing the time of day, we'll be able to see what each one looks like in a different setting. So again, it's varying from different metals, brasses, different plastics, car paints as well, different metals. If we even scroll over here, we can see the different types of frosted glass. Again, in a second here, we'll dive in and we'll really check out what these materials can do. So again, this is available on our website where you can check these out. It's enscape3d.com/free sample project. So here we'll go to that real quick and show you guys. So if you scroll down to our free sample project here, you keep scrolling down, and this is where you'll be able to access this free material project for you. So, all right, without further ado, let's check out what these materials can actually do inside of Enscape here. So let's go over here. Let's launch Revit. All right. So once you install Enscape 3.1, you're going to notice two new buttons right away. You're going to notice this material editor, and you're going to notice this material library here. So first, let's start with the material library. Again, 244 brand new pre-made materials. Again, this is the first iteration. So with each new release that's coming out of Enscape, we'll introduce new pre-made materials for you guys, just like with our asset editor. New release comes new materials. So we can see here they're broken out by different types. So we got bricks, different types of concrete, different types of metals, even different types of wood. And notice when we hover over one of these, a little star icon is going to pop up. So what we're going to do is we can actually favorite these. So now we can start setting up our favorite library on our actual projects here. So these are great. Now let's actually try and get these into our project. So let's just say I want to, excuse me. So let's say I want to utilize this brick right here. So I'm going to hit brick 03. I'm going to hit import selection. And notice down here, it's going to start importing my materials. If it imports successfully, it's going to have the green checkbox. Let's try a different type of pavement as well. So we can see here, let's do this pavement herringbone here. So I'm going to hit import selection as well. So now what this is going to do, this is going to import this into our Revit project. For users that are working in a team environment or on shared projects, notice down here, this import texture storage. This is actually where you want to set this location to the project folder itself. So then when we import those, these are going to get put in that project's folder. So that was a little helpful tip. All right, let's check out what these are going to be able to look like inside an actual project. So here, let's navigate over here real quick, and we'll change this brick type here. Or here, let's change this one right here first. So we can see here. Now what we're going to do is, now I'm going to go over here and let's pull up the material of this material right here, and let's look at how we can see what these materials are. So let's go over here just to the materials itself, and let's look for that pavement. So I'm going to scroll down here to our pavement herringbone right here, and we can see here is the materials that you get from that new Enscape material. So you get the albedo map to start, you get the roughness map, and that's what you get to start. A couple other materials will have a roughness map excuse me, they'll have a normal map attached to them. This one doesn't have a normal map attached to it. So what we can do to replace this asset, what we're going to do is we can go into our actual material here. So I'll hit edit type, and we'll go here, and I'll hit this 0 pavement one. And now what I'm going to do is, since I have a surface pattern already set up, and I have some other information in this, and I don't want to replace it, what I can do is, because all Enscape cares about is the appearance path. That's fine. So what I'm going to do here is I can hit this replace this asset, and now it'll pop up with this window here, and now I can hit this documents asset. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go find that pavement, because again, I want to keep my surface pattern here. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to scroll down to my pavement herringbone. I'm just going to simply hit the replace that. And what that's going to do is that's simply just going to replace the appearance properties of my material. So it's still going to keep the name of the material. It's still going to keep the identity, and it's still going to keep all of my surface patterns and all the really good information that I need, if it's scheduling correctly, et cetera, et cetera. Now I'm going to hit apply. I'm going to hit OK. Hit OK. Yes, I actually want to, use this material. Thank you, Revit. So now we can see here, this is our new Enscape material applied to our new. So again, that's how you can get a material inside of the Revit project. That's how you can flip it over and get it into the Revit project. And let's look at how we can adjust a couple things about that as well. Or let's replace this brick really quick here. So with this brick material, I can do the same thing. So I can go over here and I can replace the brick. So I'm going to go edit the type. Now I'll swap out for another brick material. So let's go find my brick material I imported here. So it's this brick 03. Oh, quick. Let me go back to replace that asset. So now I'm going to hit replace asset, and I'll go to the documents, and I'll find my new brick material that I want to replace it with. We can see here, just replace it with the new Enscape material. Now I can hit apply, hit OK. And we can see here our new Enscape brick. All right. So that's the Enscape material library again, 244 brand new materials ready for us to use. Another way we can get to these materials is via the Enscape material editor. So for our Revit users, this is something completely new for us here. If we have anybody in the audience that use SketchUp or any of the other design applications that Enscape supports, which are SketchUp, ArchiCAD, Rhino, and Vectorworks, this material editor is going to look really, really familiar to you guys. Revit was the last one to get this material editor, but now it's finally here. So, and it also went through an overhaul. So for our SketchUp users, we can see this looks a little bit different, but it still functions the same exact way. It just got streamlined. So there's some new functionality in here. These little circle dots on the left-hand side here, this is an indicator of what type of material this is, and it's going off of the albedo map color. So we can see here, this brass color is pulling information from that albedo map. So if we're over in our brick exteriors here, we can see now with this material editor, if we hover over each individual material map, there's going to be a flyout so we can see what it's going to look like. And we also have new different icons for the different types of materials as well. So again, for our pre-existing users of Enscape that are familiar with this material editor, that's an overview of some of the changes that came in now with the new material editor. All right, now for Revit users, this is a big one. We all know trying to do displacement maps, trying to adjust the texture size, just even trying to accept a material to be able to see the changes inside of Revit, it can take a little bit of time, and especially if I just want to see what it's looking like. So with this new material editor, what it's actually doing is it's taking all the materials that are already set up in our Revit project, and it's just bringing them over to this material editor. One thing to note is it has to be a generic type. So if you have materials that are set up as metal or anything else other than a generic, they're not going to show up in here. So you have to, if you have one of those materials, you just have to, in the appearance tab, right click, duplicate as generic and create a generic material out of it. And then it'll show up here in our material editor. So now where the real benefit of this comes in is the ability to change things in the material editor and have it sync back to the Revit material editor. So now I don't have to sit here and change two different things. I can just have one single source and it's bi-directional. So say I need to change the tint color of my brick here. I can definitely do that. So I can change this to like a dark maroon if I want for a brick, and it's going to instantly update for me here. Say I need to adjust the bump map or the displacement map right here. Previously, we had to fine tune it to over 400 and then had to hit okay for it to be able to see the changes. But now what we can do is we can actually adjust that in here as well and see the changes happening instantaneously. So that's where utilizing this new material editor is really going to be beneficial for us. We're going to be able to see further, we're going to be able to see our visualization parts that much faster now in here. So that's where utilizing this is really, really going to help. Another really good thing is if I scroll, well here, let me just show you real quick that bi-directional link. So if I need to change the size of the material as well, just to show you guys the link. So if we guys remember in Revit, changing the size, I had to change it for each individual material map. Now, if I, in the material editor here, say this is a 2 meter by 2 meter, this is going to change it for every single material that we have set up in our project here. Now, let's see what that's going to look like back in the actual properties of my Revit material. So if I go back here to edit type, look at that brick material, we can see here in the appearance type, if I click into one of the materials, the size adjusted accordingly. And it did that for each individual material map here. So for the bump map as well, it did that. And it also changed the tint color. So again, this is the kind of bi-directional link you can expect here. And same thing, if I changed it in here, it would update in that material editor for me. All right. One other feature on the topic of material editor is the ability to adjust the grass material. So if I go over to Enscape and I hit this Enscape material editor, if I scroll down, I'll be able to see this material right here. It's got a grass icon next to it. So this is going to give us the ability to adjust things for our grass materials a lot easier. So now I can adjust things like the height, and I can interactively see it growing. I can change the variation of it as well. So again, this is all through the new material editor. So again, doing this provides a lot faster design process for us here. And at any time, I can start to save out my materials. So if I go back to my brick material or my brick exterior material, say I like this, if I hover over these three dots, I can hit export material package. So now I can export this whole material as a nice little Enscape proprietary, it's called a .map package file. And now I can distribute this to our team. It's going to carry the textures with it as well too. This is where we can start developing our Enscape material library as well. So and another thing too is if we remember video textures used to be kind of hard to do. You had to write a custom script to be able to get those video textures to display properly in there. Well, now with the material editor, we don't have to do that anymore. So let me look for so now what we can do here is we're going to simply, let me just delete the textures here of this. Now I'm going to go find that video texture that I like. So let's go over to our documents, go to my handy dandy folder here where I have it. So let's throw in a texture here. So all we're going to simply do is add that video texture to the albedo map. So that's basically the color of the texture that I want. And now what I can do is I can click inside of here and I can adjust this size. So say I want it to be a 50 meter by 50 meter. And now when I start moving around, I can see my video texture start playing. So it's that easy to apply a video texture now. And now if I want that material to be illuminating light, I can change it to a self-illumination material. So now if I go change it to the time of day, now I can see it starting to emit light. So this is where, utilizing this feature for video textures just got a whole lot easier now to do. So now we can do video walls and things of that nature now. So again, it's that easy now to utilize this feature. All right, so that's the material editor overhaul. That's the materials. What we got next? Let's see what we got next. All right, Jeff.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Jeff. I'm again one of the application engineers here. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Hopefully you all can see it. I believe it's up there. Can you see it, Josh? No, never mind. Stand by. Pushing the right buttons here. So, okay, there we go. Now it should go. Yep. So the part of this that I get to take you guys through is going to be our new simplified assets. Simplified assets, just to give you a brief overview of what they are, why you would want them. A lot of the time in the early stages of design, you've got, you're just trying to convey the big objects, the big items to your client, and you'd rather not have them accidentally focus in on the color of a couch cushion before you can get the whole room out to them or something silly like that. So we've created our own version of simplified assets that are now located in our asset library. You can see here, I just clicked on my asset library there under the all, and I've got the tab here, simplified assets. So I'll just go ahead and check that again. And you can see now we've got over 60 of them, and we'll be constantly creating more. If you've never applied an asset, an Enscape asset into Revit or any of your other CAD software, it's just as simple as you could imagine. You just click on the asset here, and once it loads into the document, it's just going to be a drop it and click. So that's really the great part about how simple all of this is. So we want it over here. I'll click on that, hit escape twice, and now it just auto-populated down there at the end of this row of, if I hurry on down there, you can see the truck is down there at the end. So again, just one of those great easy features, and it's always going to help you out when in the early stages of design. After that, if you need to start, putting in other assets and going ahead and dropping in the full range of them, we offer all kinds of more assets. So in our asset library, again, we've got over 2,500, and you should be able to, once this loads, you can see you'll be able to pick from tons and tons of different options in there. And mine's just choosing to fight me here on the load. But normally you would see all the assets in there. There we go. All right. One thing that does help also speed, as you could see, I had a loading issue a little bit there, but something to keep in mind right down here in the bottom corner there, if you click that checkbox, it's going to actually load your assets to your machine so you can use them locally. Do keep in mind when you click that, and this is a disclaimer that we're throwing out there for everybody, when you click that, it's going to put it into whatever folder you designate it to. So if you tell it to go to your C drive, and that's where you want it to go and not into an actual folder in there, it's going to delete everything from that folder first. So make sure you designate a folder to put it in so it does not delete your hard drive. Sadly, this is not an unknown issue that we've had a couple people have issues from. So that's a disclaimer to put out there, but that will help your load time of assets then by clicking on that. So that's really the ease and the simplification of our simplified assets. After that, I get to go into the next phase, which is our new Panorama Gallery features. So if you've never actually seen that, and I wish this little drop down would go away, but oh well. You can actually take panorama images here. There's a 360 right here that allows you to be able to do that. And you take a panorama. Most of the time you're going to be sharing through a mono panorama, not a stereo anymore, because stereo used to be used primarily when people would have Google Cardboard or options where you needed to have a panorama image for both eyes that you're viewing from. Now that most of the time we're looking at these things on your cell phone and stuff, I would suggest more of the time use the mono panorama. So once you've taken your panorama, you go right here to the manage uploads. So we'll click the old manage uploads button there and it opens up this next window. It'll list out all the different projects you have. I've got a few of them listed here. The one that we're going to focus on today is going to be this one that's the new sample project that we offer. When you create your panoramas, if you've never done it before, normally they wouldn't have this little cloud because they are stored locally to your machine. There will be a little blue arrow pointing upward on that cloud. So click on that and it'll upload it right to your to our servers, which are unlimited storage currently. And we've not heard anybody saying that they're ever going to change that feature. So that's a great thing. After that, once it's uploaded, you have a few ways to share. So you can always hover over this and take the screenshot instantly with your camera phone of the QR code, or you could go to these three dots here. You could save the panorama to a different file location. You can copy the link address. You could save the QR code. So those were the original ways that you could actually share your panoramas out, but you had to do them then one at a time. Well, now we've introduced this new gallery feature. So the gallery feature will be located out on the web. Once you've uploaded to your manager there. So to access that, you just need to go to the my.enscape3d.com and you're going to log into that using the same credentials you've logged into Enscape with. From there, if you don't see it right away, click on the Uploads tab here underneath your username, and you'll see your list of all your projects again, just like I do here. From there, I'm going to open up this folder that's the Buildings 3.1 update file here that I've already created. And we're going to, once that opens, you'll see a list of all the different panoramas in there. There'll be little thumbnails. So as soon as it opens here, and this can take a little bit of time or it can go fast. It's all going to determine on your internet connection on the day. And for some reason, mine doesn't like me very well today, but we're going to keep holding on. All right. So as you can just see here, it just did all of the different thumbnails there, which is great. So now I'm going to click on this Create Mono Panorama button. Again, once this window pops up, it's going to show all the different panorama images and thumbnails that are available. So bear with me here on the internet speed for some reason. So I'm going to just check all the ones that I want to produce in my gallery. Once I've got them all in there, I hit the Start Editing, and it's going to open up this window right here, and it's going to load all of these in just like it normally would if you were viewing them from your normal day with just a single one. The difference is that down below here, there is now thumbnails of each one that you've chosen to put in the gallery. You can now organize them by clicking on the 6 dots there in the top left of each thumbnail and move them around. Let's say you put one in and you didn't want that one in the shot anymore. You can go ahead and just click the X button here, and that'll get rid of it out of the gallery. Once you've got it the way you want it, you go ahead and you just click the Save As button, and now it'll come up with this. You can go ahead and save this as whatever you'd like. So I'll just call it a demo gallery. And I'm going to put that in my Building 3-1 update. I'll click Save. And now once it's done saving there, it'll close that little window. And I'm going to go back to the tab that I have open here. And if it doesn't auto-populate, sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. You just hit the update, refresh your page button there. And once it refreshes here, you should be able to see the new gallery gallery option when it appears. So as we refresh, you can see demo gallery here just appeared. So your user would see exactly what we just saw on the previous tab. In order to share that with them, there's the 3 dots here. So we click on that and you get the sharing options. From there, you can go ahead and you can actually copy the link to this gallery. Your client that you're sending this to does not have to have any form of login or anything like that. They can just go ahead and see this directly based off of the link there. You could copy that and then put it out in an email on your own, or you can actually send an email directly from this gallery page also. Any way that you want to share that with your client, you can. Very easy, a very easy way to do that now. Again, something to reiterate about this, but let's say that your IT department holds the overall license and you've got a bunch of floating licenses. Well, you just need to go to your whoever the owner of the floating license is at your company and ask them to create you a user login. Once they've created you a user login, make sure when you're running Enscape that you change that login also, and then all of the panorama galleries in your user account will stay connected. If you just go in under the blanket account that your owner has set up, you may not see everything, or you may see everyone from the companies. So that's why making sure to get the user logins correct will help save you a lot of hassle and problems. Those are the two areas I think that I was going to touch on today. So if there's questions, Josh and I are answering things in the Q&A there also. So if you got stuff for that, but then Josh is going to come back here now with some of the new DLSS features and the ray tracing stuff.
Perfect, Jeff. Thank you, man. Good stuff. All right, let's get back here. What are we talking about now? Ray trace, sun shadows, and DLSS. All right. So as we've seen so far, this is stuff going. So now we're going to check out. Still sharing. Good.
We're just seeing a black screen right now from you. I think it's coming up.
Yeah, team or weird. Zoom quit unexpectedly again. Can you hear me, Jeff?
Yep, we can still hear you. Again, yeah, if anybody's got any questions while Josh is getting this up, I think he's got it up there for us. So, all right, I was going to say, please start putting them into the Q&A and we'll go for it. So.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yep, and we see the slide that says ray trace sun shadows for me.
Perfect. Yeah, sorry about that. Zoom decided to quit unexpectedly. Apparently it doesn't want to learn about ray trace sun shadows. So like I was saying, what we looked at was things on the surface of Enscape. Now we're going to look at some stuff that's underneath the hood, under what's going on behind the scenes now. So what we're first going to look at is a new technology called ray trace sun shadows. So on the left-hand side here, we can see ray trace on, and on the right-hand side, we can see ray trace off. So with Enscape 3.1, we can enjoy higher quality renderings and realism with the new ray trace sun shadows. RTX ray tracing it's been a part of Enscape for quite some time now, and it provides users with a fast and accurate lighting and reflection calculation algorithm built into Enscape. Previously, what we had to do was we were taking the silhouette of an object and we were taking that texture of that silhouette and mapping that onto a surface. Well, now what we're actually doing is we're sending rays of light from Enscape's sun directly hitting each object. So now objects that are closer and touching each other, now we're going to get more accurate lighting reflections for more enhanced realism. So let's take a look at some examples here. So we can see here on the left-hand side, we have ray trace we have the ray trace shadows off. And then on the right-hand side, we have the ray trace shadows on. So we can see here, even in the detail in the shadows here, we're getting, wait a minute, sorry, wrong one. There we go. We can see we're getting more sharper, fine-tuned details in the shadows. You'll notice more accurate shadows as well. So what we're doing here is this is only going to be visible in still renderings or your panoramas, or when you're navigating around in Enscape. What you're going to be doing is it's called rest mode. So when you stop moving for a couple seconds, that's when you'll see the shadows kick on. And if you have an RTX capable card, you'll notice here, if you go up to the general settings tab, you notice this RTX ray tracing. This is where you'll get the options for these ray trace sun shadows. So again, this is on RTX capable cards. So you'll find these a lot in the 2000 series cards. You'll find this in the new 3000 series ones, or the Quadro cards that say RTX in front of them. Some of the older generation GTX cards are RTX capable, I believe, like the 1070s and the 1080s series. So those are ones that are going to be RTX capable. So we can take a couple more examples of some before and after on what you can expect. So we can see here in the details where things are touching different surfaces, we're going to get a better shadow map casting on there. So let's look at a couple more here. So there's Here we got, in the plants, we get more finer detail as well. So we can see the nice before and after. I'll do this one. And it's prominent, or it's a lot more noticeable too. And the farther away you get from a camera, you can see more finer detail as well, especially in the shadows up close as well. Again, you're only going to see these in still renderings. That's why I'm showing you still renderings instead of doing it live. All right. And again, one more image here. Perfect. So RTX off over here on the left, and on the right, we're going to do RTX on. All right. So that's a little bit about RTX and the ray tracing capabilities. Now let's look at probably another really big feature. It's called NVIDIA DLSS. So what NVIDIA DLSS stands for is deep learning super sampling. So essentially what this is going to do is, let's look at the difference here. So we can split screen this. So we can see before and after. So this is utilizing NVIDIA's AI machine learning algorithm. So it stands for deep learning super sampling. So this is this deep learning based upscaling technique. So essentially what this is doing is it's allowing Enscape to render half as many pixels on the GPU for faster performance. And then it's using AI technology to fill in the gaps essentially. So it's going to upscale this and, like I said, fill in the gaps. So now what you're going to utilize, and it's utilizing NVIDIA's tensor cores. So again, utilizing RTX capable cards, you guys will benefit from this feature here. So it outputs a nice high clean sharp resolution image for videos and for high performance virtual reality walkthroughs, and it speeds up video exports as well. So again, on the left we can see what it's doing before the DLSS and when the DLSS kicks in here. A couple of things that we're noticing as well is users are seeing a lot of really good feedback. So you're getting a 30% faster on 1080 displays. You're getting up to 6 times faster on 8K displays. And then again, this is for faster video rendering. And what we're doing here is it's actually improved for virtual reality performance. And this is more or less paving the way for next gen VR headsets. So like the Quest 2 and the Vive Pro 2. So it's decreasing loading times. We're going to get faster results. And again, with near to any video quality loss in resolution when the DLSS is turned on. So what we can also do is for those that want to learn more about what DLSS is more in depth, on our blog, we have a couple of really good resources. So we have an article that NVIDIA wrote up for us, going into a little bit more detail as well. So feel free to check that out. It's a great read. I highly recommend it. We also have another really good blog article that our friend Dan Stein wrote, where he did some testing as well, and then kind of went into some really good details about his experience with it. So we can see he got an increased frame rate from 60 frames with DLSS off, and then 100 frames a second with DLSS off. So again, that's some new technology that's going on underneath the hood of Enscape here. All right. So now for some useful resources. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, definitely check out our knowledge base. This is where we have a really good resource of everything that's going on in the Enscape plugin. So you can find some really good in-depth knowledge in there. I still find myself going to it a lot. Also, definitely check out our blog. Our blog is a very, very good resource to get all information about everything that's going on with Enscape. We have some really good webinars on there as well, and our YouTube channel. If you guys have not checked out our YouTube channel, I highly recommend that as well. That's where we have some really good, we have a whole getting started with Enscape and Revit learning course on there, and also the different design applications as well. One that's actually not on here is our forum. So if you guys have not checked it out, again, I highly recommend checking out our forum. It's a very, very good place to get great in-depth knowledge from the Enscape community. And we got some really good tips and tricks. There will soon be a material library section where we can share materials as well. But again, check this out, get inspired by what our users are creating in Enscape. All right. what's next. And again, if you guys are not already currently using Enscape, feel free to go to our website, enscape3d.com/trial 14 to try our free 14-day trial of Enscape here. All right, who's got questions? All right, I can see here there's one.
So this one's now come up twice. As far as regular glass and Enscape, as I kind of typed in there, but realistically, to make just glass, like clear glass and Enscape, you're just going to go directly to your material library and create a white color with nothing else on it. And then from there in the Enscape material editor, and I could show you where this is in just a second. I'm going to grab the share screen here. Let's make sure that I get the right screen. So then once you're in our material editor, because as you can see, our Enscape material libraries, we don't actually have anything other than frosted or patterned glass. So if you though go ahead and create a material, and unfortunately I don't have one created in this instantly, but I can turn just about anything that I do have in here transparent. So you're going to create a new clear one. It'll be a white, and then instead of here in the material editor where it says cutout, you're just going to go to transmittance, and then from there it gives you the options for opacity. So you can definitely turn down the opacity on whatever that object is that you've got. You can tint the color also of the glass if you'd like to, and so that's really how you can make clear glass. You don't need to have a pattern in there or anything like that, just a solid color. If you do want to make your own created frosted glass, you can click this checkbox right here, and that'll help with that. So hopefully that answered that a little clearer. Can you have Josh is answering that one right now in a text, so I'll let him go with that. If you want to talk about it too, Josh, that would be cool.
Yeah, so the question was, can you have multiple people render out of Enscape at a single time? So depending on the license, if you have a floating license, say we have one floating license, you can install that floating license on multiple different machines, but only one person can be using Enscape at a time. The minute you close Enscape, it releases that key, and then the next person will be able to open Enscape. If you have fixed seat licenses, then you all should be able to use Enscape just fine without any hiccups, because it's an individual seat that's tied to you. So I hope that answers that question.
All right, another one that I can grab here quick just to talk about the stylistic backgrounds. I'm guessing that you're asking about right now, and I'm going to share the screen again. So here we
Might as
go.
well just keep it shared, man.
Yeah. So from my understanding of what you're asking, and counter me if I'm wrong, but you're asking about the whole background here and why it's just white or just the sky. Well, yep, you can definitely go ahead and make changes to that. You can either go here to, I went to my visual settings and sky tab. And from there, I can change the source. We have a few that are already in there. So I just dropped in desert because I'm in Arizona, or we can go to the mountains if we want. And those are just already plain ones that we already have in existence in our own in there. If you want to make custom ones, you go to the skybox here and you can load a skybox from file. So I have a few already on my computer that I've pulled off of a website, and there's lots of places that you can find free ones. But so let's grab this one here, the moonless one. You want to find an HDRI file. So as soon as that loads in, you can now see I've got a custom skybox or a custom background for it. Keep in mind that when you do custom backgrounds, you won't be able to go to a full nighttime view because it's pulling the information of light from the night sky off of that. So if you do need to do a full nighttime view, you would want to come back to some of our predefined ones. You can make your own custom skyboxes. There's a great blog article about it. I'd have to quick search for it here on Google.
You want me to get it or?
I'll got it. Custom, I've searched for it a few times. So how to create a custom skybox in Enscape. So this article right here, and I'll get that into the chat also for everybody if they care to see it. It goes through exactly the tools, the steps, and everything that you need to do to be able to create your own custom skybox. So there you go. I hope that one answered that.
Right. On the topic of being able to change the scale of the skyboxes, that is definitely something our team is looking in the possibility of, and especially being able to adjust the rotation of it, not just along the axis, but along the horizontal axis as well. So just wanted to follow up with that one. All right.
All right.
Well, if we don't have any other questions, thank you everybody for taking time out of your day to join us on this webinar.